Say Angels, this is the weekly general reading for today, Sunday, the 12th of September through Saturday to come, the 18th. We're beginning with party, romantic dinner, and try again. Spirit says cocktail, stay in bed, and no. With the cards, you begin with the Ten of Wands. Somebody may be feeling burdened, or you might be considering taking on some more work or something, a new load. The Four of Wands is actually also upright immediately behind it. And this card can be about the need for a break or a time of like restoration and recovery, and maybe after having taken on some sort of burden, now you rest up. Maybe you've been doing a lot, putting a lot on your plate, and you if you don't have a break coming up, you may need to carve one out for yourself and take one. Together, the two of them can be about like you having accomplished something already, and now it's time for your rest. It may be a time to get back to responsibility. Maybe you've been on break or rest. It could be about the summer ending and people going back to work and school, in a different way. A lot of people working from home. Maybe you're going back in person now or something like that. It can also be about considering taking on some sort of burden. Immediately behind it is the Devil in reverse. In reverse, the Devil's strength, the card, the Devil, the strength is reduced from that which is upright, and it could be about considering like realizing that there's a way out of your situation, and that maybe you need to be the one that takes the steps to make that way and do something. And you're far more inclined to do that when it's in reverse rather than when it's upright. The Devil most directly represents the sign of Capricorn, which is interesting because Jupiter is located in Capricorn, as is Saturn, Capricorn's ruler. And some astrologers think, I think I brought this up last week because I had been reading something. Some astrologers think that on the 14th, which falls into this week's reading, like Jupiter's placement there in Capricorn will be increased. So it's going to be there retrograde, and that the luck and things that we experience with Jupiter when it's direct can sometimes be reversed when it's retrograde, particularly in a sign like Capricorn, and depending upon where these energies show up in our individual natal charts will have something to say about whether our luck will somehow still manage to increase during this period. Maybe it'll be something neutral. We can skate through it as best as we can. Or if, we're supposed to not be expectant of a downturn, but be prepared is probably a better word. And the burden that you're considering taking on could have something to do with family. It's time to express your love and appreciation for family, be it relatives or a chosen family of close friends. Congratulations may be in order, but a happy, fulfilling marriage, as well as raising happy and balanced children. If you're considering taking in a family member or even a child, becoming like a step parent. Ace of Cups, also upright immediately behind the Ten of Cups. This is the beginning of a new emotional experience for you. It may be the first blush of romantic love, the rebirth of a current relationship, or the awakening of spiritual gifts and insights. So it looks positive. And lastly, right before the reading, right before I started this, literally after I had already shuffled and everything, I said, let me pull out, I like to clarify or get an additional message from like another deck of cards other than a tarot deck. And I said, let me pull out my past life cards. because I don't know, I'm feeling something about Saturn and the past, and Saturn, the way that Saturn has a tendency to bring up things from the past, because Saturn is largely like a ruler of karma, sort of like in addition to Jupiter and maybe even Pluto. Pluto, which may bring up even more stuff from the past now that I think about it. But in any case, I had this thought about Saturn in the past and everything. So let me pull out my past life cards. So I did, and I shuffled them too. And I figured with all the placements, we could see if they, we're touching anything from our past, or if it's rooted in our past. Maybe there's a connection that can help somebody find out, I don't know, figure something out in their lives that they need to figure out. And so I Googled, and I have my computer sitting here already open. Usually I open it at the end to go over what's going on in the week, but I had set this up first. Let me get it. Where is it? So I Googled Saturn, the past, and karma. And what came up in the Google answer, I didn't open this actual article, but it looks like the article is called The Saturn Return and Its Significance in Astrology. And it's on a site called www.liveabout.com. And what it says here in the preview is, as Lord of Karma, Saturn brings you what you've earned through your disciplined pursuit of goals and experience. Saturn often brings a death to the old ways of doing things, but later on, you're likely to say, good riddance. The death phase is never easy, but keep in mind that rebirth will come. I don't know if I agree that the death phase is never easy. I think that sometimes we learn to come to terms with things that life is about, these kind of cycles where we have to let things go and stop fighting the universe or God or whatever force it is or source it is in which we believe, when they're trying to remove things or people, whatever it is, from our life. Some of us have learned to say, okay, and I'm releasing it. So in those cases, death is not so difficult. But it depends. So it's interesting that I'm starting with karmic relationship in that deck. And the next card, I can't see what it is. It's Greco-Roman. And this is interesting too, because I remember noticing as I was shuffling this card. So this could have some significance, not only for maybe somebody in particular, but for all of us. Actually, I think that there is a transit this week. I just closed my computer, so I can't check it yet. I'll check it at the end, maybe, if I remember. I think there's a transit this week with Vesta, which would be a Greco-Roman goddess. And forgiveness is another card that I like. This is too. Oh, my goodness. These three cards. I didn't realize they had ended up in order. Greco-Roman, forgiveness, and medicine man or woman. These are three cards that I particularly took note of as I was shuffling, was made to notice and look at. So those energies could be significant. Just gonna shuffle a little bit here. Speaking of luck and Jupiter, I don't know if anybody just noticed the Wheel of Fortune, which for me typically means an uptick, not a downturn. As does the Ace of Cups, and this is our second one. So I think that's pretty auspicious. And this one is an overall energy here. Followed by Major Arcana card, Judgment, also in reverse, represents the planet Pluto, just mentioned, ruler of the sign of Scorpio, which could be from where this water energy is coming, this cups energy. So here we have the other ace, not immediately on top, but the second card. I'm just going to stick it in here, stick this in here. Mix these up a bit too. Five of Wands. Occasionally, you may experience clashes with others. If you decide the matter is worth your energy, then do what you can to minimize the conflict without sacrificing your goals or beliefs. Immediately behind that, but in reverse, is the Knight of Wands. This is also Wands energy for me. And sometimes it's not about conflict the way I read it. Sometimes it's about like the planet Mars and that sort of aggressive, like hot pursuit and willingness to compete. Perhaps win. And again, here we're starting with karmic relationship, opening to biblical. Father. I'll do one more. It's in reverse. Overall energy is lessons and blessings. So that's definitely what karma brings us. Possibly tied to something having to do with communal living. Maybe from our past, or maybe tied to our karma. Or both. Card that will most directly represent us this week is the Fool, upright. So it's a very Aquarian energy for me. Because it's about, like, you know, freedom and doing what you please if you're up to it. If you're willing, right? Can everybody see these good? All right. Surrounding energy, close friends, family members, co-workers, represented by the Three of Cups in reverse. Work and finance, Page of Wands in reverse. Love and relationship, Page of Cups, upright, nice. Physical health, King of Cups, upright. And psychic health. Well, maybe it is psychic health. Spiritual health is what I meant to say. Oh no. Nine of Swords. What would psychic health be? I guess your ability to receive or not receive messages. All right, starting from our overall energy, which I like. I think I'm going to have something to say about the card that's behind it, like the combination. But I like the Ace of Cups in reverse on its own. And this is a card that's a positive omen, you know, in the tarot in general. But it can be about feeling stuck, maybe. So like your new start or your fresh energy hasn't really come, you know, yet. It's like delayed because you haven't figured out which way to move. And that could be possibly tied to the Devil that we saw in reverse a little while ago too. Because like I mentioned, Pluto is currently located in Capricorn, and our Ace of Cups seems like it may or may not be attached to the energy of Pluto, because we do have Judgment in reverse immediately behind it also. So it's like a message shows up to say that with your efforts, you know, your time, your attention, you can resolve any blockages, you know, that you're dealing with. Also, you might consider how you could act to, like, remove blockages rather than just resolving them, you know, like making some sort of arrangement or amends, maybe with some, actually removing things from your life that are in your way, to get energy flowing again. And it's important to, like, understand what's causing the blockages so that you can get to the root and do something like, constructive about them and in a positive way. So this card asks us to think about what's up, like what's going on in our lives, what that, that could be causing certain things, and on what do we need to focus to make our new start actually happen. With work, things should be going well. Those looking for new jobs could see some signs of progress, like within the weeks to come, although probably not immediately, because again, it's in reverse, so it can be about delay. So, hang in there. I know that's easier said than done, particularly because the federal unemployment ended last week. So I'm sorry to those who were dependent on that, who still needed it. But again, hang in there. Prayers are with you. Love and relationship. It's also, it's not a bad omen. It can indicate that things aren't quite where they need to be in your love life in order for it to really thrive. And again, it guides us to look at ourselves first and see if we've dealt with any and everything necessary to allow ourselves to live, with an open heart, and to let love in and out. Love has to be able to pass both ways in order to be healthy. So we have to have the ability to both give and receive is what I mean by that. In a real way. If you're in a relationship, it may not necessarily be the one that's best for you with the Ace of Cups in reverse. You gotta think about, again, what you really want, and maybe more importantly need in life, and what you could do, what's within your power that you can think of to do to make it happen. Finances and things. Again, I talked about work already, actually. Health, that's our other placement. Probably pretty good and likely to take a turn for the better. Maybe especially in consideration of this King of Cups who's here. I guess I could go out of order, but I guess we'll get to him in a minute. Self-esteem, confidence in things can be an important part of health. I'll just say that. And spiritually, this too is about being more proactive about liking and loving even ourselves, which of course keeps your spirits up. Like, what can we do to make our own lives better? How can we expect other people to, do these things that we're seeking if we wouldn't do them for ourselves? We don't like ourselves enough to do it, and that makes sense with our card that's in that placement, the Nine of Swords, which we'll also get to in a minute. Also, in thinking about the combination of the Ace of Cups in reverse and Judgment in reverse, this in itself can be about a lack of self-awareness or confidence or or love, just like someone's spirits being kind of down, feeling blocked, especially your creativity, maybe specifically blocked, your creative outlets. If you're a writer, you're not coming up with anything. You're a singer, you can't figure out what notes to put together to make your next hit, that kind of stuff. And it can also get a little bit, with the extreme, I guess more extreme, it can get into a little bit of self-loathing, just not liking yourself. I don't know how else to put it. I guess some might be surprised of the combination because, again, overall, the Ace of Cups, even in reverse, is a good card. And I don't want to, give the impression that it's not. All right, moving on to the card that most directly represents us this week. This is another very spiritual card. It can be, at least. The Fool is like an indicator of newness, similar to the Ace of Cups, being about new. In many ways, it can be about just brand new, pure, innocent, open-hearted energy, sort of childlike, the way that children are trusting and open and, not filled with hate and until they're taught that kind of stuff. This is that kind of thing. I'm willing to try things. It's a positive card for the most part. There can be a little nuance, a caveat to it, that it's important to take the time to be sure that you're like looking before you leap. Trusting yourself to take a step into the unknown is one thing, but doing so without any forethought or planning or anything may be a mistake, basically. 3 of Cups in reverse. Friends, close friends, family members, co-workers, people like one-on-one relationships are, closest dealings and stuff. 3 of Cups, this is another positive card. It can be about like humanitarian stuff, building one's and bettering maybe one's like sense of community. It's about working with others. Maybe it suggests that it's not necessarily a time to like go it alone. You should be collaborating with other people. And it says that you can always look forward to, I guess for the week in this case, at least one pleasant reunion with someone or something. So not necessarily that the ex you miss is going to show up. It could be something, maybe something you misplaced, something you lost, that you've been apart from for some time, and then all of a sudden it turns up this week. Could be a person that you miss, an ex, a loved one, a friend, family, haven't seen you in forever, and here you are. And again, it will be positive. So this is not the person that you're going to be upset if you see them again, like the person you never want to see again. This is something that's going to be positive. And there's a sense of like feeling supported by friends and family and the people again closest to you when this card shows up. So it's really like perfect for this placement. With work and maybe those co-workers, it can be important to consider how personal relationships are going at work. Envy and jealousy can be an issue right now. And maybe that's why with this deck we have, again, the 5 of Wands upright. There could be conflict surrounding those things, or competition if somebody's jealous of you maybe at work. But in general, your sort of working world should be, at least fairly pleasant. Love and relationships. You could find that there's like some sort of financial stresses or issues coming up that are affecting your relationship. If you're single, you may very well meet a new romantic possibility, through friends, through some sort of collaboration or a social event. If you get invited, to mix and mingle in groups, you should take advantage of those opportunities if you're looking for love. Work and finance. Page of Wands in reverse. So this can show a person, very possibly specifically a woman, and even more specifically like a light-haired woman, that is causing some sort of like drama, complications, trouble, problems at work because of her indecisiveness. And this could be tied in with the jealousy and envy maybe. It's possible that also when this card shows up, that you're standing in your own way through your own inability or difficulty with like decision making. If you're looking for work, whether that means you're looking to change jobs or you don't have a job at all and you're looking for work, don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Like send your resume out, put out a few feelers, as they say, send your resume out to maybe a few places, knock on a few doors, not just one. Also, hiring decisions may be a little delayed. But remember, again, we have an overall energy of the Ace of Cups. So it is about a new beginning. So it was like a new job. Could be in the future for you, near future, positive, but it's like a little bit more of a wait. And so it makes sense, especially when paired with the Page of Wands in reverse in that placement. For finances that, may or may not have anything to do with, your job, could be about just your money, your finances in general, there's likely headed for like an uptick. And so this can be the positivity of Jupiter, even if in Capricorn. right? Because it's wands. Page of Wands can be an actual person. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, again, which is ruled by Jupiter. Or it can be that the energy, that karmic energy of a fiery planet itself, like Jupiter, like Mars, you know, helping you along. Even like the Chiron and Aries, you know, transit. Any of those things could be representative of that too. And it could be a person that's like with financial expertise, maybe, that comes into your life and gives you really good advice. So maybe on how to get a job, or where to get a job, or in what to invest, or how to better save your money, or how to file your taxes. I don't know, something like that. You could also get like some really good financial news that you weren't necessarily expecting, at least now. Like maybe there's something that you applied for and you're hoping to get, but you know, I thought I wasn't going to hear about that for like another year. You know, oh wow, already? You know, it could be something like that. When this abundance comes, think about what you can do to share a little of it. Okay, with this card showing up in this placement. Even if only to keep like the wheel of prosperity, the energy, the flow of energy. You know, abundance, money is also energy. You want to keep it moving. You want to keep that wheel turning. That wheel of fortune, you want to keep it rolling toward, you know, the next person, let it come back around to you. That's what cycles do, right? So, I'm not saying, you know, give away all your riches. I'm not saying like be, I don't know, Job or anything like that. Some. Moving on to the Page of Cups in Love. This is a positive card, similar to the Page of Wands. Again, it's a court card, so it can be representative of an actual person in your life, a Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces, very possibly younger. Even if just like by a few days, you know, younger, this card can show up. And they may be part of your love situation or scenario, right? Love doesn't know age, but of course, morality does. And so I would say make sure what you're doing is legal. Not that something being legal necessarily makes it right, because a lot of things that are legal now and that have been legal throughout history were certainly very wrong. But I just wouldn't want anybody to get in trouble or to do anything gross. But in terms of, if we're talking about consenting adults, love doesn't know age, right? So you don't want to discount people just because they're younger. I've done this. And then I guess the universe taught me a lesson, because I just fell into a situation more naturally with somebody that was younger after doing that for years, after saying like, oh no, I can't. And I probably could have gotten away with it even more easily then, because I was younger too. But I was just like, no. And then I just sort of very organically fell into one. We were actually 6 years and exactly 6 years and 6 months apart. June 13th and December 13th. Gemini and Sag, which we're mirror signs too. So that was kind of cool. Exactly 6.6 months apart. And then my next one was, you know, like closer to 11 years. It was like, you know, over 10 years by some months. That's oh no, then I had one even a bigger gap than that even. The next one was like 13 years. So I've done it. Even if I hadn't, I'm not one to judge, but I'm just trying to, you know, let you know what it is what it is I'm digging at here. This card is also one of those sweep you off your feet cards. So it can be, you know, it can mean that somebody's about to sweep you off your feet. Give them a chance. I mean, that person, again, can be younger. They can be, both things can be true at the same time, you know. Moving on. Physical health, King of Cups, also possibly involves a Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. It's significant, you know, in your scenario. Maybe they're your trainer. Maybe they're your doctor. Maybe they're you. Maybe it's representative of love and emotion. It's somebody that actually cares about you or about whom you care, and they're trying to help you. Anyway, this card in this placement says that if you are under, you know, a doctor's care or some kind of provider's care, this king shows up to remind us to trust the healers that are in our lives. Trust that they're there for a reason. They're there to help us. The king can also represent really good, positive health news. And also it can be about trustworthy, you know, news about trustworthy and, you know, healers and advisors and things like that, especially male ones. It reminds us to treat our bodies with love and care and compassion. So it gets into that self-love and self-like. I mean, the way we take care of our temple, as they say, has a lot to do, or can have a lot to do, with our self-confidence and, you know, self-esteem and how much we like ourselves. So we should pay attention to what we're bringing into our bodies, what we're surrounding ourselves with when this card shows up. And last but not least, the Nine of Swords. Okay, this card, in the context of spirituality, is a clear sign that we really need to slow down. We are tremendously, like our brains are, and things are, and us maybe just constantly going, and it's a really high stress level. If you can do it on your own, meditation is a really good way to, you know, it can bring you like some really huge benefits in that regard. If you don't have any idea of where to begin, then you can take you can go on the internet, you can read a book, you can take a class, you can use a guided meditation. I just personally, like, I advise my friends, family, clients, etc. If you're going to listen to a guided meditation, be sure that you're not going to fall asleep. Like if you think that there's a possibility that you may fall asleep, don't listen to a guided meditation, because you don't know what they're going to be saying while you asleep and speaking over your life. It might be something with which you disagree, that you don't, you know, words are spells, as they say. It may be a spell you don't want cast over yourself. So don't do that. But there's, you know, all kinds of, you know, tones and binaural tones, etc., and things that we can listen to help us to meditate if we're not good at doing it on our own. You may want to read up on, you know, like Buddhist concepts, Hindu concepts, both, to get some ideas of how to release. You know, this is crazy because, you know, guys, some of you've seen my other videos recently. You know, I've been having like all these visitations by like Hindu deities and stuff like that, which is, you know, still pretty new for me. But Krishna was like one of the most recent ones. And then I was watching something yesterday about Krishna devotees, and, you know, how just even repeating the mantra the 108 times, I don't want to mess it up, you know, but the Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, people were claiming to really find peace just from doing just that. So you may want to look into that. 108, very auspicious number in that culture. I guess that's it. Let's get into our other decks and see what they might add to this. So we've got more tarot cards. You know, I just like to look and see, maybe sometimes there's repeats of energies, sometimes there's additional messages. So joining now the Fool, we have the Page of Pentacles, who is cheerful, reliable, intelligent, and mischievous. A wonderful opportunity related to your work or education, such as a promotion or a scholarship, is coming your way. Seize this chance to learn something exciting or to start a new, more rewarding, and uplifting career. So if some sort of opportunity comes your way and you're the Fool, you're just trying to figure out, should I go for it? I mean, I think this is a clear indication that yes, you should. But again, we don't do anything without, we look before we leap. That's the only caveat. Friends, family, co-workers, joining the Three of Cups. We have the Seven of Swords. Caution will help you to avoid the loss of valuables. And isn't it funny that this card can be about, you know, again, being reunited with something, maybe a valuable, including non-material resources such as time or peace of mind. Be aware of the results of your actions as well as what others might be doing behind your back. So one message that can come with this is, again, that potential jealousy, envy, and maybe somebody not necessarily wishing you well and trying to contribute to your downfall, cause you to lose something, maybe even steal something from you. And then another possibility is that you will get, if that's already happened to you, whether you're aware of it or not, you could get something returned, get something back somehow this week. Work and finance. We have Major Arcana card 17, the Star. So this is more Aquarius energy. And isn't that great? Because this first placement, where I said the Fool for me is representative of Aquarius energy, is tied to like a worker, abundant energy, the Page of Pentacles. And so now in that placement with the joining the Page of Wands in reverse, we have the Star, which is about things, you know, we've wished for, hoped for, prayed about, set goals, you know, to accomplish, to do, and that we can tick off and knock off. So this is about that wish fulfillment. You're about to take a big leap forward with your life. Like the Fool. I said leap. Just look before you leap. And so now this is like confirmation, right? You're going to take a leap. Still look before you leap. Worry after you take that leap will be replaced with optimism. Fear with hope. And joy is coming home to roost. So maybe some of us are worried about how we're going to pay our bills and things. We're just worried in general about our finances because we are underworked or underpaid or, you know, out of work completely. And here comes some positive news in that area. And joining the Page of Cups in love is more water energy or cups energy. Major Arcana card 7, the Chariot, represents the sign of Cancer most directly. You can successfully balance various or opposing energies all at once through determination and focus. You've earned the rewards and recognition that you are seeking. Sometimes it's going to be about moving too fast. It can be about moving in general. So maybe like where you were stuck, getting moving. Maybe where you were stuck because you were stuck on the age thing. And now you're going to move forward with it regardless. You're not worried about it anymore. This is a card of victory and success. It can be about actually like literally moving. So like maybe moving in together, starting that kind of new beginning, moving into a commitment, moving into a relationship. All those things possible. And it may involve, you know, particularly an actual Cancer or the water sign. So like in that order, Cancer, and then, well, I guess in the actual order, maybe they fall. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Joining the King of Cups in our physical health is the King of Swords. He is intelligent, impartial, respected, and unemotional. At this time, it's very important that you communicate clearly, be objective and unemotional, and act as professionally as possible. If you need advice, seek out the most experienced expert you can find. And doesn't that go really well with listen to your provider, listen to your doctor, listen to your healers this week, right? Find those experts and then let them use their expertise to help you. So now also with another court card, another actual person that maybe is specifically an air sign could be involved. A Gemini, Libra, or Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. These two cards together can be about balance, truth. You know, the King of Cups on his own is about balance, masculine and feminine energy. But now you have the emotion and the thought, you know, and the mind also being balanced together with these two kings coming together. It can be about control and discipline too. So maybe with regard to your health, some exercising some discipline, exercising some self-control, some reason, and maybe thereby listening to your provider, listening to your doctor. And thinking about the King of Swords on his own, the reason you may be being guided so strongly to pay attention is that, like, for anybody who's having symptoms that are not necessarily specific, like this one, I'm getting headaches. Headaches can mean a whole bunch of things. So you should be aware the King of Swords on its own in the position of health can suggest that the doctor may like order a bunch of tests and stuff, especially if we're talking about Western medicine. You know, I'm from the United States, so, you know, primarily that's what we use here. Although some of us do get into more Eastern methods, you know, acupuncture, massage, all these things. But they may order a bunch of tests. You should also educate yourself as much as possible before, or even from before you walk in their door, you know, like, and be active in your own treatment. And that may also go to the self-love that we've been talking about. And lastly, in the placement of spiritual health, joining the Nine of Swords, is Judgment. So it's another Judgment. That's interesting too. It's time to get clarity. Like if you're cloudy, it's time to get clarity about your life purpose. That's definitely a spiritual message, right? And make changes so that you're on the path most divinely suited to you. Forgive what has been without judgment, and fearlessly embrace what's to come. I think that's like a perfect message for that placement on its own. But Judgment specific to spirituality can be about you like trying things, maybe, you know, or getting into things that you never had even like the slightest thought of, or, you know, any idea that you would get into. So like if you're, for example, we talked about meditation. If you're not somebody that meditates and they never plan on being somebody that meditates, this week you could find yourself getting into that meditation. And if you need it, I hope you do find yourself getting into that meditation. Last but not least, we're going to use, again, the past life cards and see if anything comes up that can maybe help somebody, you know, that's working their way through karma, or experiencing the results of their karma or dharma, perhaps in that case. Beginning with the Page of Pentacles and the Fool. And again, it's Greco-Roman. I'm going to talk in a minute about the transits that are occurring this week. As I mentioned already, I'm pretty sure that there's one with Vesta. I think she may enter Libra, where Venus just left. So some mother energy out there and mother energy back in. And that could be what's giving us a push forward toward maybe the work or education. Maybe we're going to get into philosophy or something, math, archaeology, something having to do with Greco-Roman in terms of education or career choice, job. Moving on to the second placement, we have the Seven of Swords and the Three of Cups in reverse for close friends, surrounding energies, close friends, family members, co-workers, etc. We have spouse. That would definitely be a close friend and family member. And somebody could be reunited with their spouse. Somebody could meet their spouse while in a social setting. Somebody may find their wedding ring or band if it had been misplaced, etc. That type of thing. Work and finance. Monk or nun. And it's joining the star, which again is about prayer, wish fulfillment, things that we've asked for, the law of attraction, things we've asked the universe for. And look at these hands. I think that's what this placement is about. Make an intention on, or continue to make intentions, and to use the law of attraction for your desires in work and finance. And maybe even pray for guidance and clarity when it comes to the finances. And that may be what brings the person in that helps you, for those that experience that. Love and relationship, joining the Chariot and the Page of Cups. Yeah, farm. That's a little weird. That's a little weird. For some, it has to do, perhaps, with somebody being... Well, first, I'm distracted because there's 2 horses on the Chariot card, and there's 2 horses in this picture. I think that may be why they gave me the card, but also I'm getting that it could happen, and it could have to do with Chinese astrology and the type of person you're dealing with. Look at what the horse is about. Horses, I know for me, are compatible. But see if that's the case. But I think the primary reason we're given this card is because of the 2 horses in the picture joining the Chariot. Again, movement is happening. And somebody could be moving to a farm. I mean, that's possible. Or from a farm. Or, growing something with someone. That's what you do on farms, right? You raise things. You're either raising animals or plants. Physical health. Wow. Joining the King of Swords and the King of Cups is medicine, man or woman. That's your doctor. Again, listen to your healers this week. Whether it's this type of healing, less traditional medicine, at least here in the United States, in places, I guess, like Canada and Europe, this would be considered less traditional. If you're in the East, this may be what you're used to, period, or you're native, this may be what you're used to, period. Whatever it is you're into, you believe in, listen to your healers, your providers this week. And last but not least, spirituality. We have love life. So this path that you need to get on, that's most divinely suited to you and your life purpose, it's tied into your love life as well, which is always true, has never not been true for soulmates and twin flames, right? And things along those lines. So those are the messages I have for you. I hope that you have enjoyed the reading. Again, our overall energy was lessons and blessings. So very Saturn, right? Karma, very Jupiter. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. If you want to stick around, I'm going to turn my laptop back on and, first pick up this brick, then to open it up again, turn it back on, and go into what's going on this week. If not, if you just wanted to see the cards, that's fine with me too. I hope you enjoyed. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment before you leave. I do appreciate it. Thank you. Bye. Namaste. Others of you, hang on. And I hope to get this up to you in time, but if not, I'll do it first thing in the morning because I'm recording it day of and kind of late. As you may know, I'm a 9/11 survivor. Boom, computer's on. So I've been pretty busy, like not just over the weekend, but all week with that. So, Christian calendar. Today was the feast day, or is the feast day, of the Holy Name of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So we'll read about that in a minute. On the 14th, which is the day that I also reference in terms of Jupiter and Saturn and Capricorn, is on the Christian calendar also the triumph of the Holy Cross. On the 15th, we have the feast day of Our Lady of Sorrows. And that's it for this week. So, the most holy name of Blessed Virgin Mary, we'll start with that one from Franciscan Media, www.franciscanmedia.org. The feast, or this feast, is a counterpart to the Feast of the Holy Name of Jesus. Both have the possibility of uniting people easily divided on other matters, like maybe by age. The Feast of the Most Holy Name of Mary began in Spain in the year 1513 or 613 or 19, and in 1671 was extended to all of Spain and the Kingdom of Naples. 1671 is also 1506, by the way. In 1683, which I believe is another 19, right? Let's add it up. 11, 12, and 6, 18. Or no, it's a 9. That's another one of Mary's numbers. In 1683, John Sobieski, King of Poland, brought an army to the outskirts of Vienna to stop the advance of Muslim armies loyal to Muhammad IV of Constantinople. After Sobieski entrusted himself to the Blessed Virgin Mary, he and his soldiers thoroughly defeated those Muslims. Pope Innocent XI, which is interesting to me particularly right now in this reading, the context of this reading, because I talked about innocence and the innocence and everything of the fool. He is who extended this feast to the entire church. Mary always points us to God, reminding us of God's infinite goodness. She helps us to open our hearts to God's ways, wherever those may lead us. Honored under the title Queen of Peace, Mary encourages us to cooperate with Jesus in building a peace that is based on justice, a peace that respects the fundamental human rights of all people. The Feast of the Cross, so the Most Holy Cross. I just went to wikipedia.org for this one. In the Christian liturgical calendar, there are several different feasts of the cross, all of which commemorate the cross used in the crucifixion of Jesus. Unlike Good Friday, which is dedicated to the Passion of Christ and the crucifixion, these feast days celebrate the cross itself as a sign of salvation. Now, we have made it a sign of salvation. To my knowledge, Jesus never said, use this cross to represent salvation or me or anything like that in the future. And when he returns, I don't know how he's going to feel about having so many crosses all over the place, since, that's how he met his physical end here. But I digress. This is a celebration of the cross. In Roman Catholicism, Eastern Orthodoxy, and Anglicanism, the most common day of commemorations is September 14th. In English, the feast is called the Exaltation of the Holy Cross in the official translation of the Roman Missal, while in 1973, the translation called it the Triumph of the Cross. And in some parts of the Anglican community, this feast is called the Holy Cross Day, a name used by Lutherans as well. The celebration is also sometimes called Holy Rood Day, R-O-O-D. And Our Lady of Sorrows, again, is the 15th. So you have two of Mary's numbers involved in this, 9 and 6. September being the 9, of course. 15 or 6 being the day. For a while, there were two feasts in honor of the Sorrowful Mother. One going back to the 15th century. So there's her 15 again, her 6 again. The other to the 17th century. For a while, both were celebrated by the Universal Church, one on the Friday before Palm Sunday and the other in September. The principal biblical references to Mary's sorrows are in Luke 2:35 and John 19:26 through 27. The Lucian passage is Simeon's prediction about a sword piercing Mary's soul. The Johannine passage, or John, relates Jesus' words from the cross to Mary and to the beloved disciples. Many early church writers interpret the sword as Mary's sorrows, especially as she saw Jesus die on the cross. Imagine watching your own child be put to death. Thus, the two passages are brought together as prediction and fulfillment. St. Ambrose, in particular, sees Mary as a sorrowful yet powerful figure at the cross. Mary stood fearlessly at the cross while others fled. Mary looked on her son's wounds with pity, but saw in them the salvation of the world. As Jesus hung on the cross, Mary did not fear to be killed, but offered herself as well to her persecutors. John's account of Jesus' death is highly symbolic. When Jesus gives the beloved disciple to Mary, we're invited to appreciate Mary's role in the church. She symbolizes the church. The beloved disciple represents all believers. As Mary mothered Jesus, she is now mother to all of his followers. Furthermore, as Jesus died, he handed over his spirit. Mary and the Spirit cooperate in begetting the new children of God, almost an echo of Luke's account of Jesus' conception. Christians can trust that they will continue to experience the caring presence of Mary and Jesus' Spirit throughout their lives and throughout history. That brings us to the Jewish or Hebrew calendar. And as I mentioned last week, all this week, leading up to and through the 16th, are days of repentance, right? Culminating with the 16th, the 10th day of repentance, Yom Kippur. For a little understanding of what is Yom Kippur, I've gone to www.chabad.org, Chabad. Yom Kippur is the holiest day of the year, when we're closest to God and to the essence of our souls. Yom Kippur means Day of Atonement, as the verse states, quote, "For on this day he will forgive you, to purify you." So purify, use that word too, I think, and innocence and purify, and also forgiveness, that card that kept popping up as I was shuffling and as I started the reading, or started shuffling again in front of you guys. Purifying you that you be cleansed from all of your sins before God, end quote. It's recognized or celebrated on the 10th day of Tishrei, and in 2021, this will be celebrated from several minutes before sunset on Wednesday, September 15th, until after nightfall on Thursday, September 16th, coming on the heels of Rosh Hashanah, the Jewish New Year, which is on the 1st and 2nd days of Tishrei. For nearly 26 hours, people who practice Judaism recognize these Hebrew and or Jewish practices will afflict our souls. That's a quote from the Torah. We abstain from food and drink, do not wash or apply lotions or creams, do not wear leather footwear, and abstain from marital relations. Instead, we spend the day in the synagogue praying for forgiveness. Just months after the people of Israel left Egypt in the year 2448 from creation, or 1313 BCE, which is the year that Moses died, by the way, they sinned by worshiping a golden calf. Moses ascended Mount Sinai and prayed to God to forgive them. After 40 days on the mountain, full divine favor was obtained. The day Moses came down from the mountain was the 10th of Tishrei, and that was forevermore to be known as the Day of Atonement or Yom Kippur. Lastly, on the planetary calendar, we have on September 13th, which is it's going to be the 25th, I believe, anniversary of Tupac's death. Pretty sure it's the 25th. Because I think it was murdered in 1996, if I remember correctly. So don't quote me on the anniversary, but it's the year or the number of years that have passed. But I'm pretty sure it's 25, and I know for sure that's definitely the right day. September 13th. Anyway, at 4:39 p.m. we'll experience the first quarter moon, 21 degrees Sagittarius. On September 14th, so the same day as the feast day we just talked about, the Christian feast day, and the day that I said that Jupiter the transit between Jupiter and the sign of Capricorn is strengthened according, like I said, to some astrologers. That same day at 8:14 p.m. Mars enters Libra, 0 degrees Libra. And on the 20th, Vesta enters Scorpio. So Vesta is currently already in Libra. Why was I thinking that she moved? I don't know why I was thinking she moved this week, but she doesn't. I'm looking at the planetary calendar right now. She moves next week on the 20th at 12:54 p.m. from Libra into Scorpio. All right, Mars in Libra. Understanding, loving, and fair. Though the direct active energy of Mars is diluted during his dance through peaceful Libra, this planetary transit brings incredible benefits our way. In astrology, Mars is at its weakest while in Libra, but that doesn't mean we become weak. It just means that our focus changes. During Mars in Libra, strength meets grace, innovation meets art, and bridges are built. Instead of pushing ahead with the usual fury of Mars, this is a time of strategy, a time to create new alliances, to strengthen existing ones, and to find support that we need to reach our goals. These are the things that we've talked about. So again, maybe that's why the Five of Wands showed up as an overall energy. It often does represent Mars for me, as I mentioned. And maybe that's why we saw some of the cards that we did. Relationships are everything while Mars moves through Libra. Mars is the planet of motivation and drive, and Libra is the sign that prizes balance and rules our one-on-one relationships. During Mars's transit through Libra, we're especially aware of the relationships in our lives, what's working, what's not, and how far they can take us. No one wants to rock the boat while Mars is in Libra. We're more friendly and thoughtful of others and less inclined to pick fights or to act impulsively. Instead of leaning on Mars's typical aggression, we're influenced by Libra's peacemaking abilities. Anger and arguments are diminished during this transit because we're more focused on creating calm and loving partnerships than we were on being right or pushing buttons. But with all this passive energy flying around, it's also easier to ignore bigger problems. We want to act as if everything's fine with Mars and while Mars is in Libra. But the reality is, it may not be. Repressing our feelings so that we don't start arguments won't help anybody. Instead, realize that this is a time of great diplomacy. We have greater ability to talk about things and subjects with a level of grace and love that's normally lacking. It's not about avoiding things, it's about addressing them with care in an effort to build new, lasting solutions. Because Libra is the sign of justice, Mars's move through this diplomatic sign is also a time to fight for what's fair and what's right. This may be another reason why we had the King of Cups and the King of Swords. You know, the Mars in part rules the sign of Scorpio, and I said throughout the reading that I felt that the King of Cups was, and the page also, was particularly representing the energy of Scorpio, because we have the Ace of Cups atop Judgment, which represents the sign of Scorpio. So that may be another reason, because the King of Swords can be the Libra, and the King of Cups can be the Mars. So it's a time to fight for what's fair and what's right. Equality matters, and Libra, while normally passive, is willing to fight to ensure that this balance is maintained, because we talked about the balance too. Unfortunately, we may feel plagued by indecision or procrastination during this transit, because Mars wants to make a move, whereas Libra wants to take its time to make sure that it's the right move. In the end, if we're acting with love, intention, and fairness, we are making the right moves under Mars in Libra. It goes on to talk about what it means if you were born with Mars and Libra in your own chart. And on that note, I have completed the reading. I hope that you enjoyed it. You found it helpful. You find it helpful throughout your week. Please do like, share, subscribe, and comment before you go. I do appreciate it. Namaste.